Hey everyone, I'm Dan and welcome to Disney Decoded. Today I just want to do something a little bit different. But anyway, in January 2024, I stood in the EPCOT parking lot at 4 in the morning, 60 degrees, high humidity, Florida weather, about to run 26.2 miles through Walt Disney World. Now, I wasn't here for like the character photos or the sunrise. For me, this was a mandatory proof of concept. I needed to know on a purely technical level if I could survive 26 miles in Florida before I committed to the scale of the New York City Marathon later that year. So today I'm decoding the run that changed how I see the parks forever. I've been running for a few years, but I needed to get a full under my belt. And if you're going to suffer through a marathon, why not do it through all four Disney parks? The Disney World Marathon is the only race where you can actually see the bones of the resort. You start at Epcot, hit the Magic Kingdom, swing through Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, and then crawl back to Epcot. It's 26.2 miles of infrastructure, hidden service roads, and, as I found out, a lot of asphalt. Standing in that starting corral, it wasn't dreaming about the finish line. I was running a diagnostic. Is my pacing holding? Is my gear handling this humidity? Is the training actually working? So the plan was simple. Use Disney as a test lab. Get the data, finish the race, and prepare for New York. The moment that changed everything happened around mile 9. I think it was after 6 a.m. and I was running down Main Street, USA. I was surrounded by cheering spectators and cast members. But I suddenly stopped looking at my time. Because even in the middle of 12,000 plus runners, I was seeing Main Street differently. The forced perspective of the buildings, the way the street narrows slightly as it approaches the castle to make the icons look larger. I was 9 miles into the marathon and I was mentally mapping the sightlines on Main Street, USA. That's when I realized this curiosity wasn't something I could turn off. It was just how I see the parks. But then came mile 20. If you run this race, you may know what I'm talking about. It's the Blizzard Beach parking lot. The least magical place on earth. It's just a winding, empty path that feels more like a never ending ride queue than a race course. No crowds, just the pavement and the wall. This is where I started to break. But what got me through this was the logistics. I started looking at the sheer acreage. I looked how Disney manages the flow of 12,000 plus people through these transition zones. I looked at the backstage roads that keep the magic running while we're out here struggling. I wasn't a runner anymore. I maybe I think I was just out of it, but I was researching and shifting my brain into data mode is the only thing that got me out of that parking lot. Ah, God, just seeing it, just visualizing it now is just bringing back not fond memories. Oof. I finished. Yay! Faster than I expected, actually. So I got the proof of concept I needed. New York was possible. 10 months later, I was in New York. Different city, different scale, but same principle. Break the experience down into parts. New York had 5 bridges. Not humidity, but not as fun. And let me tell you, I'm not a fan of Queensboro, and I run over it all the time, and I never like it, even at mile 0, let alone mile I think 15. But I'm telling you this story because it's the reason Disney Decoded exists. This channel is built on that same instinct that got me through mile 20. The belief that when you understand how the gears turn, The experience doesn't become less magical, it becomes richer. Thank you for sticking with me for something a bit more personal today. If you ever survive that Blizzard Beach parking lot, you have my respect. Normal decoding resumes next Wednesday, and you'll see me then. Bye.